What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production!
Tell me something, my friend. You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight? What? I always ask that of all my prey. I just like the sound of it.
Brought to you by the power of the Journey into Comics Network. This is the Journey into Comics podcast, the show that's 100% dedicated to everything nerd. With your hosts, the Podfather, Nate Phillips, the Podmaster, Brandon Stone, and the Journey into Comics Network stepdad, Tyler McLaughlin.
Time to make the chimichangas.
30 seconds.
Hey!
Excellent!
Finally.
What did you do?
Went for the head. And here we go.
Can somebody tell me what kind of a world we live in where a man dressed up as a bat gets all of my press? This town needs an enema.
What's up, true believers? Welcome back to another episode of Journey into Comics. Today, if I'm not mistaken, today's Journey into Comics 317. I'm your host, Nate. Today, joining me once again, the impeccable Brando. How's it going, my brother?
It's going all right. It is 2020 is continuing to just ravage us all. It knows no bounds, and it is unforgiving.
Yeah, man, I am not really excited to jump into this, but I guess we have to as we start here, and not to make light of the reality, but it's one of those things, man. We're losing genuine legends in the year 2020. Kobe was unexpected. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not unexpected per se, but untimely and not what we all wanted to have happen in the now. A musician that I think we both admire and have a lot of respect for, Eddie Van Halen, has passed away. I do believe at the age of 64 from he battled cancer. So that was a really shocking headline. I remember I literally aloud, and I didn't mean to. I just was like, fuck. So that's all I could say. I was just blown away.
I saw it right when I pulled into the driveway after work, and I was just like, damn it. You know, it's like, I also had heard that he had been fighting cancer, and it's just kind of something like you didn't hear anything for kind of a long time, and you were kind of hoping that he was going to kind of pull out of it and maybe kind of get better. But, 2020 strikes again. I think there's going to be a new episode of Podcastrophe this week that I'm on, and I talk a little bit in that episode about how pretty much I'm living in like an existential fear and terror that's causing like a bout of depression. And I'm sure most people feel that way. It's like, it's not necessarily that I'm just like clouded and like suffering in a deep depression. It's just like, I guess I feel hopeless.
Well, there's nothing to give us hope right now, man. Everything, 2020 has been the year that has literally, in one way or another, in some capacity or another, no matter who you are as an individual human on planet Earth, something has been taken from you. And in a lot of ways, more ways than one. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, we've acclimated to a new life, which has created new change. And, talk about the depression, man, I feel it. I feel it on a deep level. I know exactly what you're feeling. Because no matter where you turn, no matter what you do, when you're looking on your Facebook or you're in the news or anything, it's just there's an overwhelming. And I mean, we've lived in a lot of overwhelming time, Brandos. We live in not through 9/11 and all kinds of crazy shit. But like this time feels overwhelming and hopeless because it's not stopped. There hasn't been a moment of breath where the world has just went, everything's okay. Because it's not. It's really fucking far from okay.
No, you're right. And, it's definitely not the way that we definitely want to start doing a show that's centered around comic books and fun and magic and mystical and fun. But like we would be remiss not to mention Eddie Van Halen. I mean, come on.
Oh, absolutely. I think that we would see an eruption from people if we if we did not. I'm just saying people would be very angry with us if I did not mention or if we didn't bring it up, because I'm trying to make light of it, because I feel like that's all you can do is have some levity in a dark time, because if we don't at least not take ourselves too seriously in these serious times, we have hope. And we can find hope in each other, and we can find hope with our listeners listening to this, and hopefully getting some level of enjoyment when you're tuning in. I hope that when we're penetrating your ear holes, you are, deep in pleasuring enjoyment of what we're trying to say to you and bring to you our message and all that. So yeah, you'll probably hear me drop a bunch of different random Van Halen references today, guys. And if you can find them all, you might win a prize. Who knows?
Maybe. No, it's just like that hit me pretty hard because at my dad's funeral, I played Jump. Because one of the I have a lot of music memories with my dad, country music, classic rock music, a lot. But there was one memory that just stuck out to me, like when I was trying to put together some sort of like semblance of service or anything, the best that I could do. I knew that if I played certain songs, I would just probably bubble into it, just like a mess of emotion, and I didn't want that. Maybe maybe next time, when it's not some. Even though it was like almost 2 months, it was 2 months. It was over 2 months after he passed that we finally got to have the service. I couldn't do that because every once in a while I'll think of those songs and I will get pretty emotional. But this was a happy emotion, and I wanted it to be, weirdly enough, like a celebration of him. And being a kid, he used to play softball a lot in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Early 90s, I remember we went to, I believe the one I really remember is like in Rossville, Illinois. And they were playing, and before every game, he would open up his trunk and blare a cassette of 1984 Van Halen, and it was Jump.
Oh yeah,
he'd always play Jump, and that was that was just his ritual thing to kind of hype everybody up. And so that's what I did. I sent him off with Jump, and then I read that and it was like, man, shit.
Yeah, it was. The thing I think that sucks too is that band really strived to continue to do as much as they could despite him having cancer. I mean, and here we are again talking about another person who is a very important icon. We lost Chadwick Boseman as well. Let's not forget about him. Cancer. So I don't know what it is, folks. I don't know what's in the water. I don't know what it is that we're eating. But as a whole, as a nation, we've got to come together and figure this out, because I feel like we are the most cancer-ridden country in the world, and that's a dangerous thing to be where it's more common for us to lose people to cancer than any other thing.
I don't know. I don't remember what kind of cancer Chadwick Boseman had.
I do believe it was colon
cancer.
Yes.
Yeah, and they just found it. Like he was really young to have it, and two, because he was so young, he obviously hadn't gotten checked, and they found it in a pretty late progression. Because I know that Eddie was throat cancer, which, I mean, he was a pretty big chain smoker for a long time. So yeah, it's a real shame. He's a legend in the legend in music, whether you liked any era of the band, whether it was early Hagar era, it's all Van Halen. I know that I was a little bit disappointed when I first heard the new album, the newest album that they did.
Sure.
Well, because I had come off of Black Sabbath's 13, and I thought that was amazing. So I'm like, oh, we get Van Halen, and it sounds like Van Halen. Maybe I need to give it another listen to. Maybe it'll, it's almost kind of like, very sadly, how Chester Bennington's passing made me change my opinion of the last Linkin Park record, because it wasn't really my.
You hear his pain in there now more than anything.
Well, because the music really wasn't my cup of tea, and then it's like it got to a point where I heard it one day, and it's like, or maybe I heard like a heavy metal cover of Heavy, so I heard it in a different way. So I went back and listened to the original, and I went back and heard the first song, and I'm like, oh man, this is deep. And I know like a lot of his songs were definitely deep to have different eras in the band. But man, this was deep.
In particular.
Yeah. Well, because it was so close to his passing that he was singing about this stuff. So, no, like it made me change my opinion of that because it wasn't necessarily something that I gravitated to when it first came out. So maybe I should throw that record back on. But before we move on, I want to throw something fun out there.
Sure.
Because I heard the new AC/DC single.
I don't know about this.
Yeah, AC/DC's back, my friend.
That's strange. Malcolm died, though.
Okay, so Brian Johnson's back in the band.
Okay, another development, sure.
Cliff is back in the band, the bass player, and Phil Rudd is back in the band. And it's Angus on guitar with Stevie on guitar. And a lot of the riffs are from Malcolm stuff that riff tapes that Angus just went through and dived through and says, this is good, this would be awesome, I can do something with this. And so Malcolm has felt all the way through the record, I guess. And I heard the song, and Brian sounds good. What he said is that his kind of deafness, it was like tone deaf. He's like, I couldn't pitch. I couldn't tell the tone of the guitars. And all, like, when he was touring and playing, and a lot of it was just memorization and
knowing where to place his voice because he's done it so many times.
And then mouth movements, yeah. And it was hard. So then the doctors told them, like, if you continue down this path, it's going to be permanent. And so thankfully it wasn't terminal, it wasn't permanent, and he's kind of back in the groove. And so, yeah, because it was like randomly on Twitter like 2 weeks ago. I saw, like, I don't even follow them. Somebody else on Twitter liked it, and so I saw it on my feed. And it was just like the lightning bolt just like sparking up into like a light, and it was like turning on. And the album's called Power Up. And you know, AC/DC sounds like AC/DC. Let's be real here.
They will always sound like AC/DC because that is what they are.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much once they reached Back in Black, that was like their sound. Like, you have a few other like Thunderstruck's a little bit different. Money Talk's a little bit different. Ball Breaker's a little bit different. So there's
Hell's Bells a little bit different.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, like, overall, they have a sound. So the new song is called Shot in the Dark, and it definitely sounds like a B-side that you would have heard on Back in Black. Like, you could have just said, like, hey, this was a song that never got released from Back in Black. And you'd be like, yeah, I hear it. But here's the thing. AC/DC gets a lot of criticism for not evolving and doing their own thing. But I'll be honest with you, at this moment in my life right now, I need a little consistency. I need
having a little AC/DC anchored you, huh?
I need something that feels familiar and just like I can.
Sure, I love that. I love the sentiment behind that. Just feeling any sense of normalcy. That's like, okay, for example, this is going to kind of diverge just a little bit, and I know that, you know, we've got a lot to talk about. Quickly, just to share with one last thing about Eddie Van Halen, you know, right now we've lost a legend who at one point in time was the top of the world, and maybe now he's running with the devil, but he is with all of us forever. And I'm being very serious and sincere when I say that, because not even just with his, like, directly with his music, but there's memories of Van Halen that are because of other things. Like, I love Twister. Me and Veronica have a great love for Twister. It's a movie that me and my dad bonded over when we were kids. And you remember how the Lorraine decked out the fucking theater and had the car flipped over and the tree through it and all that shit. It was awesome, you know, and that's a great memory. But Van Halen is on that soundtrack, and it just kicks. It kicks. So I'm really excited, honestly, to listen to this new AC/DC. Just your pitch, just your selling it to me right now. Even, you know, and we've talked about this 100 times. Like you said, AC/DC is AC/DC. There's no, you know, change. But with the fact that Malcolm is no longer here, and what you said about how it's got a lot of him in it, and it's got Brian back singing and doing what he loves, that makes me go, like, my ears pop up and I go, okay, now I'm ready to like, as somebody who has appreciated parts and eras of them, dive in and see what they have. And I will say, I saw the deluxe edition of the CD. Jesus Christ, it's amazing. It looks like some sort of futuristic box. It's got, like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, it just
definitely interested.
I think the single came out on Friday last week, like on the 9th. So it was just something that I'm like, you know what? Let's go check this out. Is it on Spotify? All right, there it is. Let's go check it out. And I listened to the whole thing on the way into town today. I'm like, you know what? This kind of put a smile on my face. Is it like the biggest hit you've ever heard from them? No, it's not as big as Hell's Bells or Back in Black or something like that. But it's fun. It's fun, and we need that in our lives right now. And, maybe if this were released like 2 years ago, it just would have flown right under the radar. I would like, oh, it's AC/DC. But right now, in a world filled with just endless, just darkness, tragedy, just endless sea of despair, it gives me a little bit of hope that maybe we can kind of get through this. Maybe that's just I don't know. Maybe that's only in my dreams, but perhaps.
Oh, I see what you did there. And listen, I know this podcast, we ain't talking about love on this podcast. We're talking about comic books. So let's get into some comic book news, Brando, because there's a lot of stuff that has been breaking in this world.
I do have a comic book related news story.
Me too also as well. And actually there's one more article or one more thing that you brought up that I didn't have actually on my list, but I just remembered we are supposed to be talking about it. So maybe we can just lead off with that, because you sent me the trailer for a comic book show that blew my mind, one. And two, I feel like at some point in the show's history, didn't we start covering this book? We read a couple issues.
I think we at least did one or two, yeah.
Maybe during Shuddy's time on the show, we read one or two. When we did Crossed, and we did Plutona, and all that. Yeah, you
Crossed.
remember?
Oh my God! Gosh.
Crossed is a fucked up thing, man.
Oh man, I didn't need to remember that right now.
I'm really glad that the podcast format we have now did not exist when we did Crossed. We would have got kicked off Facebook.
Would be able to...
you cannot show that.
No.
Get the fuck out of here. Ugh. Oh man. But yeah, no, you sent me the trailer for Invincible, and obviously a Robert Kirkman story. And, I was really surprised because I kind of expected when you said the trailer had come out and you sent it in the group.
Mm-hmm.
My first reaction was like, is this going to be like normal American animation, or are they going to be clever? And the fact that they went with a more anime style, even though it's definitely Americanized anime, made me go like, oh, I was already hooked because I liked the series that we started on. Because I feel like we read like the first 5 issues of that, because it came to the 5th issue and there was a cliffhanger that the dad is not who he seems or something. I don't know. It's been a time, honestly. And I as soon as you sent this to me and I watched it, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm on board. I'm ready for it. Like, let's get here. 2021. Is it early 2021 that this is coming out, or I didn't see actually what the release date said.
You would have asked me, because I don't actually have it pulled up.
I know, I really got you there. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's to me at least, it looked like Kirkman's story staying true to form while having this anime style, and that's what I really appreciate. That's, I think, the best way to sum up my thoughts here.
It is set to premiere on Prime Video, and it just says 2021. They don't have a hard date yet.
So yeah, we don't officially know.
So here is the cast. Are you ready for this?
Sure, please bring it on.
Stephen Yeun as Mark Grayson, Invincible.
I love it.
J.K. Simmons as Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man.
Awesome.
Sandra Oh as Debbie Grayson. Mark Hamill as Art Rosenbaum.
Ooh.
Seth Rogen as Alan the Alien.
Holy shit, this is an amazing cast.
Gillian Jacobs as Samantha Eve Wilkins, Adam Eve.
God, this feels so good when you tell me these things.
And now it's getting to some people that I don't know off the top of just by looking at them. But I know this guy, Carrie Payton as Black Samson.
Oh, King Ezekiel, huh?
King Ezekiel and Cyborg. He plays Cyborg.
And Cyborg, that's right. That's right.
Zachary Quinto as Rudy Connor / Robot.
Keep telling me this, bro, and I'm gonna be dancing in the street. Good God, this is amazing news.
Lauren Cohen as War Woman.
Wow, a lot of Walking Dead alum in this. I love it. I love it.
Sonequa Martin Green as Green Ghost.
Sasha! Yeah!
Michael Cudlitz as Red Rush.
Abraham! Awesome.
Lenny James as Darkwing.
Fuck yeah, Morgan.
Ross Marquand as the Immortal Aquarius. Yeah. It's pretty much the Walking Dead.
Aaron, amazing. Amazing.
Oh,
That's an amazing cast of characters.
And there's more that, like, you know, some of these I just didn't really like. I don't like Andrew Scott Ranellis.
I don't. That one's not familiar with me right now.
He plays William Clockwell.
Right now.
Zazie Olivia Beats.
She was Domino in Deadpool.
Okay.
And she was also in The Joker. And she had an amazing role in The Joker. Have you seen The Joker yet?
I have not watched that, but I need to.
Yeah, next shutdown, bro.
I did finish Shazam.
What did you think?
I loved it. I thought it was fun.
Yes! It was a great movie, man. I had a lot of fun with it. They didn't take it too seriously.
I thought Shazam was the DC's Spider-Man Homecoming.
Very well said.
Like, not exactly, but the fact that it's very kid-oriented lends itself well.
But still plays at a level of an adult that you kind of ride the line here.
Well, see, the thing is that it's inherently funny all the way through, but some of the things are just super dark. Like it gets into that DCEU darkness. Is like, wow.
The opening scene. Oh man, like that's some. Oh, you're just. Car crash scenes always fuck me up, man. I'm not a fan. But then also like Billy Bastion getting lost by his mom, and then you get the whole revelation of what actually like. That story was so well done. I think I marked down a little bit about it on the podcast when I watched it, but I'm glad that you've also now watched it. And I'll just again reiterate. Let me say this to you, Brando. I'm going to say this very delicately as possible. If you're going to watch Joker, I think that when your next shutdown comes, if we are going to have a new president, we should definitely watch Joker together because it'll be like entertaining and there won't be so much seriousness. If the world is going off the rails, I don't know if it's going to be like the right tonal idea for us in our brain space to watch that movie because, oh boy, is it fucking dark. And I just rewatched it recently, so I have like a really good fresh memory of the movie.
I do look forward to watching it. It is on the radar. However, it's not one that I definitely want to put on with the kids around.
Couldn't.
Yeah, so that's something like, okay, so like we were going to watch South Park, the pandemic special that aired last week, and I caught the very beginning of it because I went ahead and got YouTube TV for the month of October so I could watch some of the baseball postseason. And well, I'm like, hey, this is on, and I saw like the first like 10 minutes of it, and then so she hadn't watched it yet, she being my wife, and we got to the part, and the kids were out there. Now I'm like, yeah, we can't watch this because they're about ready to explain how COVID just it started to become in existence with a certain flashback of Randy Marsh, and I'm like, we can't see this.
He definitely fucks the bat. Yep.
Now, there's another comic book bit that I wanted to talk about for a second.
Sure, bring it up. By the way, I want to tell our audience that I don't have a mic today because I'm fucking dumb and forgot it. So I just went into like talk closer to my mic. It's not there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, just like the old days, it's like rain or shine. There was that one we did like a Breaking Bad episode. Do you remember that Breaking Bad retrospective?
Yeah, the Breaking Bad retrospective. It was amazing.
And like my mic for some reason wasn't working right, and like the wrong microphone was in it, and it sounded like I was just in a hollow room with nothing in it. And then some kids kept throwing a ball at the side of my house, and I ended up leaving the room to go yell at them or something. Anyways, no. So there's a new comic book coming out starting in February, and it's a new Beast Wars comic book.
Really?
Yeah, with the 25th anniversary of the fan favorite animated series, property is enjoying somewhat of a renaissance, getting some love from Netflix as part of the new war on Cybertron. The third season of that is going to be Beast Wars based, so that's going to be great to see. And they're even getting some new toys to kind of go along with that. But IDW Publishing announced today that part of their virtual New York Comic-Con experience, that writer Eric Burnham, Ghostbusters, Transformers / Ghostbusters, and artist Josh Burcham, Galaxies, and the Wrecker Saga will join forces in a new Beast Wars comic book with an oversized #1 issue that stands in February, featuring a lead story, what they describe as an additional 30 pages of story content. So yeah, we're getting a whole new Beast Wars comic.
Damn, that's amazing.
It's a little stylized. It looks like something that would be on Cartoon Network today. So a little bit more cartoony, you know. I'm not necessarily hating it by any stretch of the imagination. But then again, I'm not sure if that was just a cover art or what. I mean, I don't know, right? So from a quote, Burnham says, Beast Wars was a wonderful and weird pivot from the Transformers setup, which I was first introduced. Big personalities, unexpected twists, and actual stakes all popped up regularly on the show, and those are tools that I enjoy using to build new stories. Best of all, the enthusiasm from everyone involved in the project has been so high that I'm feeling consistently inspired. He also said that I'm thrilled to be a part of this team. I was a 90s kid, and even though I knew about Generation 1, Beast Wars is really my G1. So it's still my favorite iteration, and I still consider it a privilege to bring the character's life in this brand new series. Let the Beast Wars rage on. Now, the series altogether, it debuted in 96 and ended in 99. It had 3 seasons of 52 episodes of Beast Wars. The other parts of the series set in the continuity were Beast Machines, which actually came to fruition and aired after that for 1 season. You also had Beast Wars 2, which was a Japanese anime, and Beast Wars Neo, which was also a Japanese anime, which also took place in a continuity where, rather than transforming into cars, trucks, and planes, well, guess what? They were animals. And I'm going to go ahead and send Nate these pictures while I am thinking about it, so that way he can kind of see what I'm seeing. And if I was smart and a good podcaster for all you Facebook guys, I would have it all ready for you guys. However, I do not.
It's okay. This isn't about being prepared, Brando. We're on the cuff today. Come on now.
No, we are definitely off the cuff for sure.
This is not Journey into Prepared. This is Journey into Tangents, where we talk about whatever hits our brain meat holes.
Come on, send. There it is. All right.
Oh, there it sent. 3 photos sent. Dude.
So, in one picture, you can see it's got Optimus Prime, Rhinox, Cheetor, Rat Trap, and a bat. And I assume that bat is Optimus Minor. The bat was originally Optimus Prime when the series first started, but when the cartoon started, they actually redesigned Optimus and Megatron, because Megatron was an alligator. And they redesigned it to be a T-Rex. And then they just turned so the TV show had a limitation for how many characters they could have, which is why you had a bunch more toys than you did
the characters that were actually in the show.
Yeah. Now, see, with like the earlier generation of Transformers with the animation, you had a bunch of the toys got representation in the show and had a lot of minor roles, and you'd have one episode where like, hey, that's that one car toy thing, that dude. And but with Beast Wars, there's a bit of like each side had usually about 5 characters on each side, and then some episodes focused only on a couple characters at a time. So there was hope that maybe this will kind of revive it a little bit, and we'll, if the comic book, who knows? You never know what's around the corner. But I got really excited about that because, Beast Wars is kind of how you and I started talking in the first place.
Yeah, we're trading some Beast Wars to each other, some different Transformers to each other, man. Mm-hmm. That was a really cool era, because I remember the first Christmas that Beast Wars was a thing. One of the toys I got that Christmas was Scorponok. And on his belly was where you could put your thumb, and it would heat change to the Decepticon logo, or what were they in that show? Predacons, thank you, not Decepticon, Predacon, thank you. But yeah, and I loved that. And then obviously you and I and Jason and I feel like maybe a couple other people were on and off trading. We'd either bring them to school or we would meet up at somebody's house and put something together. If I happened to be in Rankin for a day to go hang out with some folks, we would try to make it a thing. Yeah, man, those are great memories for sure. And I'm looking forward to seeing you said the season 3 of the Netflix show is Beast Wars?
Yeah. So War on Cybertron is going to be like a 3-part mini series. Like each season is like 6 episodes. And it's kind of like a reimagining of these big stories in the Transformers mythos. So it's like literally like season 1 is like the war for Cybertron, you know. And I've watched the first episode. I need to go through and watch more. It's all 3D animated, just like, you know, Beast Wars was. And it is pretty cool. It was darker than what I expected. Like it's safe. It's pretty safe for kids. I didn't feel like I felt weird having Wyatt watch it with me. It's definitely like Y7, or it might have been PG. Like because there was like one cuss word in there, but it wasn't a hard one.
It's like damn or something.
Something, yeah. But it was like really all right. But I was really digging it, and they got a bunch of the toys right now, like in the Walmart toy section. You go by there, it's like I've been looking at them because Wyatt really enjoyed Bumblebee when we watched that. We both and him really enjoyed that movie, and so that's what led me to kind of start the first episode because I was still kind of riding the high off of watching Bumblebee and watching an iteration of Transformers in a medium that I'd kind of given up on in the movies. I'm like, after the 3rd movie, I'm like, I am done. I don't want to see anymore. I'm kind of done with this crap. And to see Bumblebee was a great breath of fresh air. It was a great movie. It's almost in a weird way, you know, it was on like such a smaller scale. It's what you wanted the first Transformers movie to always have been.
It just fell short.
Maybe because it was just a matter of like, you know, Transformers has always the original series of Transformers rode that line between story of the humans and the story of the robots. But the first Transformers movie was like very stylized. It's the Michael Bay effect, you know. It's big explosions, them tumbling all around. You don't moving parts. You don't know what's going on.
A close up of gears.
And this movie didn't have that. It was more stripped down. It was more focused. So you only had like for the most of the movie, you only had 3 Transformers in the whole movie.
And you had an invisible villain. I heard you can't see him. Invisible
villain.
Yeah, you can't see him.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. Yeah, he was definitely there.
But you can't see him.
No.
That joke will never get old.
Yeah, people were just talking to like the camera would pan and it'd just be.
There's a jacket in the middle of the fucking place. I don't know why. It's just a jacket. There's nobody attached to that jacket. Maybe that's the episode title. No one's attached to the jacket. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a bad one. That would be hard to make a thumbnail to. Like what? Just have a floating jacket. Okay, I'll stop now. Brando, I will say there's more comic book news.
Yeah. Because
Marvel has crowned a new spirit of vengeance. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, from you.
That's a setup because I knew you heard about it because I sent it to you. Trying to fucking lob the ball up there, bro. You're supposed to slam it down. So yeah, what do you think about this news that Deadpool is going to be the spirit of vengeance?
It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, coming off of us having read recently, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and the somewhat of the tone of that series kind of gave me like Deadpool vibes. Like it definitely could work, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this little thing, and I'm also gonna put this dog outside if he keeps barking, because what the fuck, that was probably obnoxiously loud to our listeners. With me not having a mic today, of course, of all the times. You dog.
Okay. I did hear that. Like the dog's like, you talking shit about me?
Yeah, I am, motherfucker. Anyways, let me read this. It says, here's the bio for the character. Deadpool was hired to eliminate a popular taco truck vendor. But when he arrived to do the deed, he was swayed by their delicious Hellfire Tex-Mex and decided to spare them instead. It was then that Deadpool's mystery client appeared, Mephisto. Due to Mephisto's Hellfire Chilies, the vendor found new success and celebrated by donating free food to the community. But charity wasn't part of the deal. The price had to be paid. In a raged at Deadpool's mercy, Mephisto forced him to take on the spirit of vengeance. Now he spreads hellfire and delivers punishment along with his fellow Ghost Riders. That is when they aren't bickering. And that's what they say about this. So I honestly, just on that little pitch, am really excited because it's stupid, but also perfect for Deadpool. Like, that narrative is just like, yeah, of course that's the story. You know, it couldn't be more perfect.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I will say, where do you want to go from here, Brando? Because I feel like there's only a few more real big headlines, and there's just kind of a lot of like kind of outlier stuff. There was some, obviously, the virtual NYCC is happening this week, and so we've got some stuff.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is that we might actually have more stuff to talk about next week, depending on what else gets announced this week. But
depending on if tomorrow's a big day for the news or not.
Maybe, we'll see. But so we got news about the Green Lantern show coming to HBO Max, and it'll explore the different heroes within the core, and it'll tell the story of heroes Alan Scott, Kilowog, Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Boz, and many more in the brand new live action series. While there's no word yet on if the show will be set in the continuity of Zack Snyder's Justice League universe or exists in a separate entity in DC, they've made it clear that these are lines that can be blurred and explored in the future. Green Lantern will be co-written by Graham Smith and Arrowverse architect Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah, the Googs. He's great.
There is no release release date yet, but fans can expect the 1 hour drama series that will explore the darkest corners of the universe and the Space Force tasked with protecting them. So that's kind of cool, and it's about damn time, to get something good out of this part of the universe.
So let's talk about a couple things here that I thought, because you said the names. Let's talk about it. Alan Scott, that is Golden Age Green Lantern, the first. You have Guy Gardner, who is a more recent, I think he may be the New 52 era Green Lantern. And then Jessica Cruz and Simon Boz were actually the Rebirth era Lanterns. So they are actually pulling from all eras. Surprisingly, 2 names are not on here. I know Kilowog is obviously an alien creature character that they'll be able to tell that story, and that's great. But you don't have Hal Jordan's name here. Mm-hmm. You also do not have Jon Stewart, which leads me to believe if they're doing a Green Lantern movie, if they're going to have them in the movies, those 2 will be the ones that are going to be the lead role stars. And this is a way to really pay homage to the Green Lantern character and all the different people that have carried the mantle, while not saying each character has to have a movie to tell that story. I think this is a very beautiful and clever way to do this. And I'm honestly looking forward to it, especially with Berlanti being involved. You've got Mark Guggenheim being involved, Seth Grahame-Smith being the showrunner. Like, across the board, I'm honestly, when I saw you sent this, like, Green Lantern's happening, I was like, fucking finally! And then to see the names that are attached to it, like I said, it's just chef's kiss. Perfect.
So the official log line from Warner Brothers says, from HBO Max, DC, Berlanti Productions, and Warner Brothers Television comes a bold adaptation of the iconic comic book franchise, a saga spanning decades and galaxies. Green Lantern will depict the adventures of a multitude of lanterns, including Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Boz, and Alan Scott, Earth's first Green Lantern, who, true to the comics, is a gay man, and many more. The series will also include fan favorites such as Sinestro and Kilowog, and will also introduce new heroes to the ranks of the Green Lantern Corps.
That's amazing. Like, and I love that they're going to do actual representation. Alan Scott was a gay man in that comic, and it was several years later, obviously in the 60s and 50s, they weren't talking about how he was a gay man. It would be very hard to tackle that, but as time went on, it became very evident with all the different writers that was kind of his sexual preference, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I love that they're not shying away from that. They're not going to change it, and they're actually taking the golden era Green Lantern, who has a very custom look. He doesn't look like any other lanterns. He's got a cape. He's totally different and unique. Like, this makes me very happy. I'll just one more again. I'll say it again. Yes.
Absolutely, man. As I said, it's about damn time. I know that a guy that I work with, his name's Will. He's a big Lantern fan, and he's like, he basically anytime that we talk about the DCEU, the one thing that he brings up, he goes, "It ain't shit until you brought the lanterns in. Where the hell are the lanterns? Cyborg's a Teen Titan." I'm like, yeah, but like in the newer years, he's been associated with Justice League, so they were trying to encapsulate like the years and kind of do some representation. He goes, "They got a Black Lantern." Like, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And of course, that's the one. That's the one that he really wants to see. He wants to see John Stewart. It's like, look, like Hal Jordan's cool, but John Stewart's my Lantern. So.
I think John Stewart is just there. Like, Hal has a very suave, like, confidence to him, and John, I just feel like has a lot of anger. It's pent up. He's been wronged by the world, and he is trying to find his place while also righting the wrongs that have happened to him and other people. So I totally vibe that. Now, to totally pivot, because we're talking a little bit about DC here, we're going to jump back into Marvel talk. Did you see Marvel's big TV show announcement?
For which one?
Well, there's a new show, which I knew, I think maybe a year or so ago, this was covered on the show, where it had been announced there was going to be like a Howard the Duck show. Hellstrom was going to be a thing. I think they still went forward with Hellstrom. But Modok. And I don't know if you saw any of the like pictures or anything, the animation for Modok. It looks hilarious. And the premise, like, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the actual premise so we can like discuss it a little bit here. And for whatever reason, I'm dropping likes in the podcast. I don't know where that came from, but whatever. Here we go. So, Modok, where are you? Modok. Okay, here. This is good because it said this is some important things that obviously Patton Oswalt is one of the producers. He's also voicing Modok. They talk about how when they were just kind of discussing the character, it was, well, what does a character who's just a floating head do when he's not being a villain? Does he have like a normal life? Does he have like just a wife that hates his guts but stays with him or whatever and like has kids and shit? And so the answer is, every time they discuss the crazier things that this villain that is really interestingly shaped is, the more they realize that it's just so much comedy packed in there. So as I'm still looking for the little, oh, wow, they actually released clips of the show, which I have not yet seen. So maybe afterwards we can peep that here. But I'm trying to find the fucking headline that actually had, I'm almost there because I know it's like right about, here we go. Open link in new tab. There we go. So this is what it says. It says, we obviously love the character is a big villain who is always trying to take over the world and run his, stop it. Stupid fucking comicbook.com. Brandon Davis, I hope you get punched in your stupid fucking dick, bro. With the auto playing ad that just broke my ear hole. I didn't know where it was coming from. So I like panicked, Brando. Like,
we could hear it through the microphone.
Oh God, no.
Well, I mean, it wasn't terribly loud, but I knew exactly what was going on. So if you scroll down to your volume mixer, this is what I've been doing every time that I do a podcast now.
Sure.
If you go to your volume, right click volume mixer, you can actually lower the volume on your Chrome. And I also started doing it on the system sounds because of every time I would adjust the volume, if I needed to, it would like, my system would like ding at me. So.
Dude, bro. Yes. humongous help you just gave me. Thank you. So let me go back to trying to read what the fuck Modok was about and where this idea came from, because I was trying to have a point about this show, which I don't know if you have yet seen. I'm going to link you the actual article. I'll do that right now again so you can check it out, but the Facebook land is going slow. I tell you what, man, sometimes technology just likes to fuck with me. That's the truth. It's just like, hey, you want to do this really quickly? Nope. You want to do this podcast? We're going to glitch you out right now, bro. Wouldn't that be funny if right now I had actual glitch problems just because I said it?
Oh my God.
Just like, and like words spew. Okay, so anyways, let me read this to our audience. Lord. It says, we obviously love the character as a big brain villain who is always trying to take over the world and run his evil organization AIM. His design by Jack Kirby is so absurd and monstrous that we thought, where does this guy go at night? Does he go home to a house and have all these mundane things he has to do? Does he have a family we never knew about? The more we discussed it, the more we just kind of made us laugh, and we tried to figure out, well, what would that family be? Who would marry Modok, and how hard would it be to be his son or daughter in Modok's image? A lot of, amazing talent here. Beck Bennett from Saturday Night Live is going to be in it. Ben Schwartz, obviously Patton Oswalt being Modok himself. But most interestingly, Brando, and this is kind of why I wanted to bring it up, apparently Patton Oswalt and company have been given free reign to use A-listers and characters from the X-Men universe in this show.
Huh.
So this is a quote from Patton Oswalt saying, I can't believe the Marvel Toy Box stuff they let us play with. We pitched some characters, even some in the X-verse. We were like, we don't know if they're going to say yes to this. And they were like, yeah, go ahead. Again, I don't want to say who, but there were a couple, Jordan and I were thinking, I don't think they'll say yes to this. Let's write this, but have a backup because they'll realize no, but we got them. So he's obviously got some pretty cool people he's excited for us to see in this show. Did you get a chance to look at what the art and the style looks like?
Yes, it's absolutely ridiculous.
What do you think? It is ridiculous, right? Like,
it's crazy.
Not what you're expecting at all. It's like kind of like this like 3D futurist animation. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time just like forming my thoughts around it, because it, in a way, it almost kind of looks like what's that, like chicken,
robot chicken,
yes,
it is very robot chicken looking. Yes. I love that you just said that.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's not robot chicken, but it's like, it almost looks like their style of claymation.
Absolutely. And also, I wanted to bring up right now while we're talking about the Modok thing, if you go to the Modok Twitter, they recently posted and I think probably by the time our Facebook Live listeners get to this, they'll actually have a chance still to go and do the contest. But for anybody listening Monday, I'm so sorry. It's probably the contest is already over. But if you're watching on Facebook Live and you're catching us on Sunday evening, right now you can go on to the Modok Twitter and actually get into the show yourself. They're asking people to caption a certain image, and then the ones they like the best, they're going to bring people in to have them animated, or I don't know what the exact deal in the contest rules are, if you're just going to be a voice or they'll have you through Zoom or whatever it is, but they are doing a contest to have other people who are just the fans be a part of this, because apparently there was a large outcry of support when the news of the official first images and stuff of Modok dropped during New York Comic-Con.
Hell yeah. So there's another bit of Marvel news about Benedict.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Benedict Cumberbatch is going to be in Spider-Man 3.
Everything makes sense in an instant.
It's set to be begin filming 1 week from today in New York City, which means that Uncharted should be done filming, or should be done with principal photography. So that's a good news there, or at least would be close to. I mean, they could start filming in Spider-Man 3 without having Tom Holland there.
They did that for the first Spider-Man for when he was in Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
They did not have Tom Holland in the suit initially. Some of the scenes were filmed with somebody else standing in because they weren't sure. They were still casting at that time when they were getting it filmed because they wanted to ensure. And they superimposed his voice over that first scene where he flips and does all that shit. Hey guys.
So yeah, it's gonna be we're gonna see Doctor Strange step into the mentor role.
Okay, so here's a couple interesting things to say about this. First of all, two things. One, this is like Strange's way to give back to Peter because he knows what an immense loss Peter feels from the death of Tony Stark. And you also have Doctor Strange who's going to be able to step up right now and go, oh, kid, did you just have a guy out you for your secret identity? Let me just do what I need to do to make that not happen or make people not remember or whatever the case may be. But Strange also could be in a position now, and you know, we think about WandaVision coming out this November, possibly, maybe even December. But, you know, Strange is going to be toying in a world where some reason, somehow, some way, Jamie Foxx, who was Electro in a different universe, is going to come into this universe and look different, but still be the same character somehow. And that just means to me we're getting multiverse bits in Spider-Man before we get to the Doctor Strange movie, because now, as we've seen based on the schedule, Spider-Man happens in December, Doctor Strange is happening in March. Not this December, obviously. We're talking 2021 and 2022, but December 2021, we'll get that Spider-Man movie, and then March of 2022, we'll have the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with Scarlet Witch joining the fold, and obviously multiverse thing being blown wide open. What will we see? I love that somebody, I think it was Boss Logic, made a poster, and I just wanted to briefly mention it because it was just funny that, you know, Tony said that they're trying to steal a necklace from a wizard. So Boss Logic made a poster of a yellow brick road leading back to New York, and it said, Spider-Man, no place like home. And, you know, obviously Doctor Strange would be the Wizard of Oz in that role. But what are your thoughts on Doctor Strange joining this cast that's already, I mean, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland. They actually have another rumor that I'm about to hit you with in a second, but we've also, you know, have Jamie Foxx. What are your thoughts, Brando?
I'm down. You might as well take advantage of some of these guys that you've got under contract that are going to be big name actors. Now with some of these guys that are no longer going to be involved in the MCU, you know, with whether they're retiring or, you know, the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman or anything like that, utilize Cumberbatch as somebody who I would now anchor a lot of the MCU stuff, like with his movie, with him doing crossover, like just like he did in Thor Ragnarok. He was there for like for a glass of beer, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean, no, I am completely down for them using more Cumberbatch because you know what, he's a great actor, number one, sure. But like just like with Tony Stark, I don't think you could have casted Doctor Strange any more perfect than Benedict Cumberbatch. Like,
I absolutely agree.
I mean, you can't say that.
And he can age into the role, bro.
Yes, we'll see.
As he gets older, it's going to be better for him.
Well, and the thing is that like you can't say that about every single person. Like you know, there are some people like, well, you know what, he's really good in that, but like, as far as like being actual people who just encapsulate that role, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., you can't see anybody else. He is that character. Like so much of like somewhere in here, there's a part of him that identifies with Tony. And he brings that out. And then when they casted Cumberbatch as Strange, I'm like, man, I don't know, because I'm thinking Cumberbatch is like, you know, kind of squeaky clean, kind of goofy looking guy. I'm like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the first time you see him all in the outfit, you're like, bro,
that's our guy.
Whoa. Like, yes, it didn't take much to get him there, but he's there. And then from like the moment that he starts acting, he has that same, he brings that out, the cockiness, the attitude that Strange has about him. You know, that's what made those scenes with him and Stark so entertaining to watch in Infinity War, because they're very similar,
but also very different.
Yes.
And that's what makes it perfect. Now, I will say there's one thing I'm hopeful for in the Spider-Man 3 movie, and this is something that will help settle the MCU a little bit. And tell me your opinion on this if you want, or just, agree with me however you want to go. But, like, I feel like there needs to be a scene, if we're going to have Benedict and Tom Holland starring together in this film, where Tom looks at him, as Parker, and says, Doctor Strange, I have a question, and we haven't really had a chance to talk. We went to talk at Tony's funeral. Obviously, we portaled back to the fight, and things have been crazy, and now I've been on the run. But when we were on Titan, and you saw those different realities, what did you see? You said 14,605,000. What was the one? Like, did you know Tony was always going to die?
Mm-hmm.
And because that is going to be a stabbing moment of Benedict having to, like, bring the energy, Strange bring the energy of, like, yeah, I knew, and genuinely that was the only way we could stop him. And that creates a whole different level of weight. It obviously, it's been confirmed subtly through not saying exactly such, but I feel like Parker, being an intuitive kid, is going to want to know what he saw.
Yeah.
And, was there a way where everybody survived but I died? Like, was that the reality that was going to happen? So I'm really looking forward to this. And Brando, we're not done talking, because there's a new rumor of somebody who might be appearing in this movie now.
Tom Hardy.
There are 3 names that have obviously been popped around quite substantially ever since the casting news of Benedict Cumberbatch, and actually even before then, when J. Jonah Jameson as J.K. Simmons appeared in Far From Home. Obviously, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being the 2 big names. Will we get them on screen? Will we have these 3 Spider-Men together? But then the next question is, will we also have Tom Hardy's Venom, who now if we're fleshing out our Sinister Six, you've got Tom Hardy, Jamie Foxx, Michael Keaton, Jake Gyllenhaal, just those 4, Michael Mando, just those 5. You only need one more. It doesn't matter who it is. Let's get Alfred Molina's fucking Doc Ock back in this son bitch.
Do you think that...
Sometimes.
We know this.
Sure.
But,
I am the one that forgot my mic today.
Yeah, but do you think that the WandaVision show, which is going to have her supposedly shatter reality, is going to be felt in other upcoming properties?
Oh my God. Like, you mean the ripple effect of what happens in WandaVision is why Phase 4 is what Phase 4 is? Like, we're feeling all these ripples, and there's weird stuff, and like Shang-Chi, we're getting this story and the 10 rings, but maybe some of the stuff that happens is off from what we know, and it does throw some confusion, but we ultimately look back at WandaVision and go, she fucking blew up the whole of reality, man, so things are a little bit up. That's what happened. Wanda caused 2020. It's all her fucking fault. The Rona witch strikes back. Like, that's a joke, obviously, but I think that's a great question to pose to not just me, but to everybody is, will we, because obviously Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the things we're seeing, I don't think Black Widow can be included in what you're saying, because it was meant to be before that anyways.
Yes. And
obviously tie in all this other shit. But all the stuff that is what is happening in the current and after the snap and from 2023 on, because, according to the timeline, it's 2023 now in the MCU. Yeah, I think it could definitely be felt. And that's maybe why Jamie Foxx shows up and is who he is. And Doctor Strange is trying to figure out the anomaly with Peter, because Peter doesn't understand what's going on. And maybe 2 other Parkers show up, and one's old and all beat up. That's obviously Tobey Maguire. And the other one's kind of jaded, but still put together, which is Andrew Garfield. And then you've got this young, spry kid who just wants to help everybody, and no one is happy with the situation. Tobey's like, I gave up this stupid Spider-Man shit years ago. I was over it. I'm out of shape. After my emo days, I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't cut it.
No, it was just something like, because Strange's movies are supposed to start filming next year, with Sam Raimi directing that one.
That's amazing too.
And so like he's coming back into to do another superhero film, but like if WandaVision is going to go directly into that, and Strange is going to be in Spider-Man, is it just going to be a, hey, this is because, you know, I need to fill that Tony role for you, or is it going to be because shit's messed up? And where we left it off in the second movie for Spider-Man, in as the epilogue of Phase 3, we still have that, but now we have the ramifications of the multiverse as well. I don't know.
Because the multiverse is obviously something they alluded to in Far From Home, but it doesn't actually come to fruition as reality because Jake is obviously, as Mysterio, bullshitting. However, on the flip side, it's really interesting because where Parker is now with his identity being revealed, it could also be more than just like shit's fucked up. Everybody knows his identity. Shit's fucked up. The world's all collapsed because Wanda broke things. But also in the comics, I believe Reed Richards, Stark, and Doctor Strange worked together to undo Parker coming out as Parker during Civil War because they wanted to reconceal his secret identity as they realized it was a terrible decision to give him up to the world. Hey, you're a kid. Here you go. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting because we also have the villain of Ant-Man 3.
Kang the fucking Conqueror. Oh, yeah.
Who is the father of Reed Richards.
Oh, yeah. See, look at all this shit happening. It's crazy the amount of things they're going to actually, like, when we first started talking about Phase 4 and beyond, it was like they have a lot of ideas. And I think it was like, you know, when you look at the schedule, you saw Thor Love and Thunder, that got you hard. You saw the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that got you all jazzed up. You look at Spider-Man 3, you're about it. But then there's these like uncertainties now, especially with Chadwick Boseman's passing. Black Panther 2, what does that mean? It's still on the schedule. Will we still get it? Is that going to still go forward? Captain Marvel 2 is definitely a thing. Monica Rambeau being a part of WandaVision is definitely going to tie back to that Captain Marvel film. Miss Marvel being an MCU character through the Disney Plus series, as well as She-Hulk and others. Yep. They are really going for broke now. And it's like, as fans, the last 10 years, and really last 12 years, because we're in 2020 and it's all fucked up, but the MCU as a whole, the entire 23 movie arc that we got chapter 1 of, was well done. And I think as fans, we were like, wow, that was like really good. And everything they did was not necessarily always perfect. And they didn't always have like the course for this is the direction we want to go, but their loose ideas led them to a really beautiful spot. Now I think they're like, we know what we do. We're a well-oiled machine. Let's give them the coolest, craziest, most insane shit we can while we have these actors that we do have that we know for a fact people love. We know for a fact that they can do the roles amazingly exactly how we want, and be able to really push Phase 4 and beyond into being something that's just as special, if not more special, than the Infinity Saga.
So you've heard the rumor of who the main villain is going to be alluded to in Phase 4 and who they're going to be going forward with, right?
I haven't officially. I know there's like rumors, but I figured Kang, because I mean it's fucking Kang. He's got to be the big dude.
Galactus.
Ooh, if they actually go Galactus, that's okay. So now you're gonna have me kind of riff on this because I think it's too early.
Well, I mean, okay. So the thing is that we didn't get Thanos for real.
True.
Until the end of Phase 3, we got sprinkles. And that's what they're going to do. It's going to be sprinkles, and they're going to build up to Galactus like they built up to Thanos. And then by the time we get to Galactus, who knows what the shape of the MCU is going to be, who's going to be involved, who's going to be in there, what heroes we're going to have. X-Men, maybe, by that point. I mean, we're talking like 10
Fantastic
years.
Four. Yeah.
Yeah, Fantastic Four. So, like, we have a lot of things that could definitely come to fruition by then. But
especially with the amount of movies that they're putting out.
Yeah.
Because right now, like I said, we've got all these big name movies that are on the ticket, and that's only the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
We're not talking the 10-year plan. What will this end up looking like when it's all said and done? And then who's going to be crazy enough to buy the 8K, like 56 movie special edition of the Infinity Saga, and then whatever the second saga ends up being called in 2030 if we make it there?
But I mean, yeah, right. But like for example, Hemsworth has hinted that he's not done after Love and Thunder. That's he's going to go on and still have a role somewhere. But I can also see him like maybe taking a step back, and like we don't see him for a long time until it's time to come back for Galactus, and then he's in, and that's kind of his last big thing. It's like,
or if he's in, maybe we have him just do like the Ruffalo thing, where he's only there for special moments that just help the narrative, but he's not the main focus of whatever the story is. You don't have to keep telling. And not to say that we don't enjoy Thor stories, because I feel like there are honestly a ton of Thor stories they could tell, especially with now how they've pivoted that character, given him some comic levity, allowed Hemsworth to be more himself and less this tight-ass Norseman, So the Four Norsemen, but I don't know, man. I think that Thor definitely deserves his place to stay in the MCU for as long as we can have Hemsworth. I know that another interesting thing happened because Chris Hemsworth, he has brothers. One of those brothers has expressed extreme interest in joining the MCU. And did you see who he wants to play?
Snick.
Not Wakanda Forever.
Nope. Snick.
Snick, yeah. Mr. Wolverine. Oh. I'd be about it. And I think that'd be an amazing casting. I mean, maybe it's a little bit too on the nose to have him. And I think there may be other people that would serve that role better, possibly, but who knows? Sarah Van Halen, when she casts roles for Marvel, she always hits it out of the park. So whatever they say, like when they say, any of these new people that we've recently got are being cast, your Miss Marvels or your She-Hulks or any of these guys, you're just like, yeah, they're going to be great. I don't even have to question it. I know, because Marvel has a track record of casting good people, except for twice. Looking at you, Terrence Howard and Ed Norton.
Yeah. Like just twice. The people who are no longer in it.
Oh, that's funny. Who would be the Four Norsemen? By the way, it would be Thor, Odin, Loki, and I'm struggling to find the fourth. Is it
Heimdall?
Is it Heimdall? Oh, Heimdall's the fourth Norseman. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. It's awesome. Yeah, Brando, I don't really know, at least I do have one last thing. We are on Marvel. We were talking about the MCU. Maybe this is a quick little bit of a tangent. It'll only take about 30 seconds, and then we can depart from this show because I know we're trying to stay on task on tacos and on time today. But, the MCU is something that we all enjoy and love, and it's obviously something you get on Disney+. Last time we talked, we discussed a little bit about how there is rumor that possibly the Spider-Man movies really soon are going to be on Disney+. But one thing that's really awesome is Marvel and Disney actually listen to the fans saying, hey, we hate the layout of the Marvel tab in Disney+, because it's like all this different stuff kind of mixed in with each other. You can't just sit and watch a series of Phase 1 by itself or whatever. But nay, they have changed that. You can now watch Phase 1 with the exception of Incredible Hulk. You can now watch all of Phase 2 with the exception of Spider-Man Homecoming. And you can watch all of Phase 3 with the exception of Far From Home in order on Disney+. And they also have an MCU timeline order where Captain America is the first movie, Captain Marvel is the second movie, and you're going in the literal timeline of the MCU, which I think is an amazing win for the fans who have questions and want to experience that.
Well, it'll definitely help because there's a couple different ways to watch it. You can watch it in release order or timeline order. So, that's definitely awesome that they finally got that done.
Yeah, man. I feel like, we've beat this episode black and blue. We should stop giving our fans the run around and unchain this one. But I don't think I have anything else left to add this week. Brandon, do you have anything else to pull up and discuss?
Well, it's just a great time to be a fan. It's a great time to be a comic fan, a nerd fan. And we've got a lot of we really nerded out about DC in the last month or so, especially since DC Fandom and all the cool stuff with the Batman.
Oh yeah,
Snyder, and then the stuff they're doing with HBO Max, and then now the stuff with Marvel. It's all these castings and like it's not it's just excitement. Like we're really getting the best of both worlds.
Ooh. Brandon wins the episode, dropping that little juicy nugget. I absolutely love it. Best of both worlds. Hell yeah. Oh man, I feel so good right now. Man, I'm about it. This has been a very amazing episode. We had a lot to talk about, but I think we did a really good job of, keeping within the parameters, not getting too wild, not taking crazy trips out to Panama. We just stayed focused and on land. Okay. We're just doing our best. And I know that, we might be up for breakfast, or having dreams, but we are all together in this crazy 2020 time, and we are doing our absolute damnedest to stay strong and bring you guys all the crazy stuff that's been happening, which is actually kind of picking up more as we are moving on, and definitely seeing some of these, the Hollywood precaution for now, how to treat COVID and how to have precautions and protocols in place is helping to get at least some part of the entertainment industry back. Yep. And the great question is going to be, where are theaters going to be in a year's time? And will some of these delays be delayed again? Yeah. Because that's going to be really the question we have until there is a vaccine that is viable, that is something we can all take, that we can stop worrying about coronavirus as ever being a thing, just like people back in the day no longer worry about polio the same because of vaccinations and being able to get rid of, that terrible disease that would paralyze and ultimately kill people. So, I think we have officially finished what we started, Brando. Did you have another thing? Has something dropped?
I just saw this. This came out about an hour ago. On Friday, HBO Max revealed stories about its upcoming Green Lantern series, announcing that the streamer had ordered 10 episodes of it, right? And now Justice League star Ray Fisher is weighing in on the announcement because Graham Smith, at one point, was working on the Flash film. And he's like, Seth Graham Smith is an awesome dude through and through. We connected in a big way during his time on the Flash film. He's got a big heart, and I just want to say, and I know he's going to slay Green Lantern. There's no better commander for the Corps. Well deserved.
Oh, yeah. So,
I mean, that pretty much leads you to believe that Cyborg is going to be involved in the Flash film, right?
I mean, I know that there were negotiation talks to have Ray Fisher in the Flash film, but with everything happening and the fact that WB is creating a bogus investigation into the allegations against Jeff Johns and against Joss Whedon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Couldn't make it out. We almost made it to the end of the episode, but I just had to extend it.
Man, it just all of a sudden hit me, that sneeze, and I was like, I'm going to survive this, not...
Bless you.
So, yeah, man. Okay, well, I don't know, man. The Ray Fisher stuff just depends. Depends on how WB and everybody moving forward, how they treat him and how serious they take his allegations. And if they don't, I don't see him in the Flash movie, honestly. I know there's rumors that he's going to be, but... Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Now, dang it, another freaking leak. I don't know about this though. Okay, so, so Hawkeye is we're just extending this episode, but I'll get through it as quick as I can. This is not from one of our notable sites. This isn't from the one you don't like, but it's from somebody else. So rumor. An innuendo here, but it also kind of ties in because a certain somebody raised his hand about wanting to be involved in said Spider-Man film. Hawkeye is expected to begin filming soon, and Disney Plus series is likely to see Clint Barton training Kate Bishop, the fan favorite archer who eventually assumes the Hawkeye moniker. While Marvel's yet to confirm which villains the pair might battle, the latest Hawkeye tease a notorious villain whose potential could set up Spider-Man 3. Casting leak obtained by Mercy's Multiverse suggests that Hawkeye is looking for a deaf 8-year-old indigenous actress to play
Echo.
Echo.
Oh my God, that's amazing. David Mack created Echo. That's awesome.
A skilled martial artist and acrobat in the comics, Echo's face is marred with white handprint that is left behind by her father being killed by his boss, Wilson Fisk.
Yep. Oh, baby. Holy shit, dude. Okay, so Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Wilson Fisk goes to Disney Plus. Oh, baby. Brandon, do you know what that means? 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 Or just like jog in place.
Daredevil.
Charlie Cox. Can we get him? Because you know what I also heard? I don't know if this is true. I want to say it was either the end of last month or the end of this month. The Daredevil rights have reverted back to Marvel officially, like the
Netflix series.
Yes. So if that's true, oh shit. Like I want to clap harder, but I know that I don't have the proper microphone to.
It's still
rumor.
It's still rumors, but you know what? I'm on board.
Take it with a grain of salt, but I call that a plausible rumor for sure. That is a plausible rumor, Brando.
I would be in line for that shit.
Same. Well, we've been humans being here on this episode, Brando, and I think we're going to go ahead and finish what we started. Do you agree that we're at a good stopping point on this one today, or do we have more headlines and deadlines late breaking?
Nope, that is it. I'm not looking at any more.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, as always, you can check out Journey into Comics several different places. Obviously, if you're watching on Facebook right now, thank you so much for streaming the podcast on Facebook Live. Make sure to share it, comment, like the page itself. Go to our YouTube, subscribe, where you can also get the backlog of all the other JIC shows and other shows that are on our network. Go to journeyintocomics.com, where you can get the archive for all the shows across the Journey into Comics network and its entire 1,200 episode history. You can also go to any of the different podcasting platforms, your Apple Music, your Spotify, your Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, CastBox, Podbean, and many others. Just search Journey into Comics Network. That one feed is most likely all you will need. We've got some cool stuff coming up on the network here in the very near future. Also want to make sure you guys are checking out Game Addicts podcast. Make sure to get them on all the same amazing podcasting platforms I just mentioned, as well as GameAddictsPodcast.com, or is it just GameAddicts.com, Brandon? I don't remember.
It's Game Addicts.
What's the .com? It is Game Addicts Podcast.
Yep.
Which you can also find on journeyintocomics.com. Just go to our affiliates tab and you can just click directly over to Brando and make it super quick and easy for you. But Brando, this has been Journey into Comics 317, the best of both worlds. And I think that's going to do it for us. I've been Nate.
I've been Brando.
And as always, folks, pop your caps back, shred a mean fucking Eddie Van Halen solo, baby, and fill your brains with shit. Later, guys.